How's it going, everybody? My name is JustJarrod, but you guys can just call me Jared, and welcome back to what is another No Man's Sky video, but definitely a very different No Man's Sky video, a new series, you may call it, that I am going to be doing, this one being the first of many, hopefully, where I talk to a fan and or content creator, or both, of No Man's Sky, and basically we just chill, talk about No Man's Sky, unscripted, just go with the flow conversation, and it'd probably be about, I don't know, 30 minutes long or something like that. Upload it, you guys watch it, you guys view it, I get money. That's how YouTube works. Anyways, all jokes aside, today we're going to be talking to Lawofevolution, a good friend of mine that I met about a year ago through his No Man's Sky streams over on his channel. And we're going to be talking today just about No Man's Sky. So, how's it going, Law?
What is up, man? Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Hey, man, you've been on my channel. I think it's been like, what, 3 or 4 uploads and I don't know, like 10 or 11 streams. I I appreciate you having me. It's about time, man.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I guess, well, if you streamed, when you get back to streaming, I'll be there. I'll be there again. We got to do
No
some
doubt.
dual streams or something like that.
Once
Where
the
I
next
should
drops,
both- Exactly.
It's go time.
Exactly. We could play multiplayer when that comes. We don't even have to do, like, separate. We just be grinding, hopefully, No Man's Sky together. See how that works. I don't know.
Right. Well, see, I'm in Hilbert now, and I just made a video about that. I was like, I'm in Hilbert, and I'm trying to get back to the first galaxy. So
Right, so that actually brings us into a good topic that actually not a lot of people are talking about. I don't know, do you know who DM21 Gaming is?
yes, definitely.
Yeah, okay. He hated on me in the past for hashtag say hello, but we're pretty chill now as of recently. And I was on his stream on Mixer a few days ago. He made a video recently where he was talking about he thinks, and this is a question nobody's really asking, is he thinks when next drops, you'll have to start over if you want to play multiplayer. And they're not going to allow you to take your current save because it would be unfair to newer players if people have, especially if there's PvP enabled, and it's all on one mode. If people have these billions and billions of units that they can just, and they already have all the best stuff, that they could just go griefing other people because there's nothing better to do because they already have everything. He thinks that PvP will be not a separate game mode. I think he said PvP and all the multiplayer will be a new game mode. Like there'll still be normal and there'll still be creative, survival, permadeath, but also multiplayer, where you can see other people and you can do PvP. But he doesn't think there's going to be a separate PvP. He thinks it's if you want one, you're going to get the other, right? So people who don't want PvP are, you can't have your cake and eat it too, basically is what he's saying. So I never thought about that. And another thing he brought up was difficulty, because Sean in that interview, he said they've been working on balancing multiplayer. So if they're balancing, does that mean they're balancing? Because he says you can help each other survive. If this is normal difficulty, you don't need to help anyone survive because it's simple. Not normal if you play normal now.
Exactly.
So is multiplayer going to be like the difficulty of survival mode, where you actually have to work together to survive? We don't think it'll be permadeath mode, or if they're making a whole new thing where it's just a balance between all of that. What do you think they'll do? Do you have any opinion on that?
Interesting. Well, I do know that DM20. That's Bicycle Walrus, right?
Yeah, that's it.
That's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. Very familiar with him. It's really good stuff. I think as far as like the multiplayer, when it comes to like griefing other players and stuff like that, that's not going to affect, right? Because they're all getting this same game at the exact same time, right? So they're all going to have the same amount of time to get as good or as bad as they're going to be. So with that out of the equation, when it comes to PS4, we're already established, and I don't think that would really affect anything too much. There's people with billions of dollars, but yeah, just like you said, there's a lot of people that have a lot of assets, and so I don't think either way it's gonna affect anything too much. So if so looking at it like that, maybe you would probably end up just pissing a bunch of people off.
Right.
If you like made people start over to in like a universe reset, you know, I mean that's gonna make people kind of be a little disgruntled, but something that goes even further than that would just immediately piss everybody off. So I mean, I don't see that really being a problem as far as griefing people, you know.
Right. I don't see griefing being a problem at all, to be honest with you. I'm kind of hesitant to believe Sean when he says there's griefing, because he said there was griefing before No Man's Sky. I know that was a while ago, but he said it almost the exact same way as he said it before launch. He was like, if you want to find someone and, ruin their day, I guess you can do that if you want to be that person. He said the exact same thing in this interview. I don't think it's going to be a big thing, like PvP. I mean, I think it's kind of weird because we don't know, like purpose for it. Like, if it's just to grief people, like, then I don't think it's gonna be a big thing to begin with at all, because the universe is so big still. They're not like making it smaller. The chances of you just coming across somebody and wanting to kill them are slim to none, I think. I don't think there's gonna be, I don't know if there's gonna be an easier way to find people, except for, like, through complex colonies or whatever, and bases that squads can have. I just don't think it's going to be like on somebody's to-do list to, hey, let's just roam around and look for somebody so we can kill them, unless I think at that point they have to introduce more progression systems, because if PvP was in the game now, I found you and it was like, heck yeah, I'm going to kill you, pick up all your stuff. I don't think your multi-tool would be dropped, because that would suck, or any of that, like, equipment wise. I think only, like, your inventory would be lost. And it's not hard to get it's not hard to mine stuff. Stand at a rock for 10 seconds and you got the materials. Like, if I were to pick up what you had, it's almost like not worth the time. So they would have to introduce rarer materials, things that take a while to get or farm, things that have rarity to them, where, like, right now there's, like, uncommon and rare minerals, but they're not rare. You find them everywhere. You don't have to even look. So I think they would have to give people a reason to want to hunt down other people besides just units, because units are nothing, especially when you've played the game this long.
Yeah, I mean, and then what does griefing really mean? Like, if somebody does kind of catch you in there, you're just out there and you're exploring, and somebody catches you out there in space, what are they but just another starship attack you? And that happens often. I mean, when you're just out there flying around and just going about your business, you stop into the wrong star system, you got 4 or 5 starships, that are bearing down on you. And I mean, what is it to have another person doing that, when you warp in somewhere? So, I mean, and if you're armed to the teeth yourself, I mean, hey, you might welcome it at the same time. But
that is true, because people attacking others aren't going to know what they got or who they're fighting. So they might just screw themselves over. And also, like, if you think about it, if you warp into a system and you're playing No Man's Sky next, and you warp into a system, suddenly you're getting attacked, how do you know it's a bot or a player? Are they going to, like, do something with that?
It would have to be how they, how their movement.
Yeah.
You could tell that by the movement. You could, like, that's a human player, and that's this AI or something like that. You'd be able to tell maybe when they engage you, but
right. I just kind of wonder. I don't think, I know a long time ago they said when you come across a player, they're not going to have, like, a name above their head. They're not going to have any of this stuff, so you won't know. I'm assuming that's exactly what it's going to be like this time. Unless you're in a squad and you actually, you obviously know who you're playing with. I think if you come across other people, you're not going to know they're other people until you find out, like, how they're flying their ships or whatever it may be. Or if you see them on the ground, obviously, then you would. But as far as ship combat goes, which I can't wait for, PvP ship combat was going to be fantastic. It at least makes ship combat relevant in my eyes, because I don't ever deal with ship combat in the game. And I haven't dealt with it. Even when they updated it, it was cool, but I didn't really do anything. But that's just my game style, because there's nothing to progress towards, in my opinion, except for units. But I hope they change that. They have all this this multiplayer aspect built in, and they've got, you know, we just got the player model, which looks dope. And I do hope we can customize the player model, and it looks like, as far as the front cover, that everybody's exosuit looks different in some way. I feel like they wouldn't have done that because it's very minor too. It's not like crazy differences to the point where I don't think they would have done it like if you couldn't customize. Because why? It's like that one guy's like a bigger shoulder blades and horns on his helmet and whatnot. What if you could find like armor now? What if they just added a whole mechanic in where you got like armor pieces that you could find? That would be dope. I'd be down for that. Because that adds to rarity. If you could find these rare things that other people might want to take from you, I would be 100% down with that PvP aspect.
Right, and it would be sweet if it's not just, you know, not just cosmetic parts just for the sake of being cosmetic parts, you know, like you find the armor, and the armor actually does change the way that your suit appearance is. So
yeah.
I think that would be something that would definitely be sweet.
Right. All right. So let me jump to a whole new question. I want to ask you about your experience playing and streaming No Man's Sky. What you enjoy about the game most, and when you started playing. Because I only met you a year ago during a stream that Maestro, I do believe, showed me. I don't even remember how I met Maestro. I was talking about this yesterday. Nobody who's watching this is going to know what I'm talking about. But I was talking about this yesterday. I was like, I was playing with Maestro, and I was like, how did I meet you, dude? Because you introduced me to Lob. I don't know how I met Maestro. It was super random. But I remember since back, a lot of people who've been on the channel for a while know, when I had no internet, or had like stupidly slow internet, I couldn't watch Law's stream because my internet was so bad. So I would listen to his stream through a party chat on PlayStation with my friend Maestro. Because Maestro's like, you gotta hear this guy. He's a great streamer. I don't even think Maestro really watches my channel at all either. Yeah, so that's the first time I heard about you. How long were you streaming? How long have you been streaming No Man's Sky? That's a question.
I had streamed No Man's Sky for the first time, I think it was the last couple of days of June in 2017. So it's been almost a calendar year.
Okay.
From the very first time that I streamed. And to answer your questions, I started playing No Man's Sky about a week after launch because I didn't even have a PS4. Well, I had been watching, you know, Cobra stuff, and I'd been watching stuff from Syrian Gaming, and I'd been watching all of that stuff, and I was like, okay, well, you know, I knew I wanted the game, and I knew but when time came for it to launch, I didn't have the money together.
Yeah. And
so I ended up scratching it together and getting it, and that was the only game that I had on the PS4 for, oh god, it was I think it was about a year before I even got another game. It was like Destiny 2 before I got another game, but I literally bought the PS4 to play No Man's Sky, and I love about the game the most, and the thing that was the most attractive to me about it was exploration. Anything else? There was a lot of other things that they were saying and promising, and I loved it. I mean, that was awesome, but the sheer amount of planets and the amount of galaxies and what you can see and the fauna and the flora and all of these different ways that these can be melded together, and I was blown back by that. And I think exploration is still to this day what I do when I power up No Man's Sky. I get in there and I'm start planet hopping, and I'm not looking for anything in particular. I just want to see something that nobody else has seen before. And so that's what makes me hope that, you know, diversity and all of that stuff comes, you know, with this next update, so I can just kind of get back out in the stars and just okay.
Right, and then I think that's, well, a lot of people know that's all I care about really is exploration. Everything else was just bonus, because when they sold or announced the game, they announced it as solely an exploration game. That was it. They didn't talk about anything else. So that's all I really wanted, because a lot of games that I play, I try to remember examples I used to use, but I like playing popular games. And it's not always necessarily because I like the game. It's very strange, like weird. I've got two two cool things about games that makes me want to play them. And then one is like popular games. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's COD or, you know, Assassin's Creed, No Man's Sky, all these, any genre. I love playing games that my friends are playing because I want to witness something first before they do. Like, it's like a weird addiction. I want to have like this cool experience, and then I want to show it off to people. And I think that's why I like doing YouTube, because all these different videos and things I can make that people haven't seen before, I want to show people. And that's how I always was with games. And another thing I love, characteristic-wise, about games that really makes me want to play them is, what's the word? There's a word for it. It's where, I can't remember the word right now, but it's where things never happen the same way twice, right? It's like, you know, No Man's Sky, you can adventure around, and as far as, you know, we've been playing for 2 years now, and yeah, planets and creatures and variations are starting to get, you know, the same, or, you know, look relatively the same, and that's why we wait for the variation update and things like that. Still, it's taken 2 years. I'm still playing it, not definitely as much as I used to, but because there's always something different as far as whatever you want. You know, there's always new ships to see. There's always different colors and variations of planets and biomes. And it's always different. There's always that aspect. And it's the same with any other game that, you know, like Destiny. Destiny 1 was one of my favorite games because you could go in and play with friends, and the experience is always different. Even though you're doing the same crap, the experience is always different. And the grind is always there to do different things. And, you know, a little bit with Destiny 2, definitely not as much, but, and then, like, loot-based games is another thing, like Borderlands, Diablo, anything loot-based, because there's so much different things that you can do and find. That's why open-world games are great. Games like racing games I'm a huge fan of, because, you know, especially, like, destruction-based racing, because there's always things that happen that don't happen ever again, and that's what I like. I like those moments, right, that, you know, you can get this really sweet thing, and the PS4, you know, definitely this generation makes it so much easier to share those with this, just the share feature, being able to share all those cool moments that, you know, are so rare. And that's what I like about games, is replayability, basically, you know, is what it comes down to. Because, you know, when games have that feature where you can play this game for hundreds of hours, and then one day something that's never happened has happened, like finding Diplos in No Man's Sky for the first time. That was insane. That was an insane experience, especially since I was recording it. That was super rare, and I was freaking out in that video. Those moments are, I think, really why I like No Man's Sky. Plus photo mode, or just taking pictures. I mean, I can't get enough of taking pictures of No Man's Sky. I mean, that's just an addiction. That's a problem. I mean, visually, No Man's Sky is fantastic. I definitely think it could be better, like E3 better. Like the E3 trailers, which people say we'll never have, even though I can hope.
I'm still holding out for that planet, that bioluminescent,
yes,
dark planet with all the oh my god, it's just, I just can't. I need that planet in my life. That was the one that pulled me in. I remember vividly that was the planet that pulled me in, and they went over it at nighttime, and just, you know, animals were flying off. It was like little small bugs are coming off the ground, and it was big creatures, small creatures, and it was sentinel. I was blown back by that one.
I think they could do the glowing, like the plants at night and things like that, because we have that exotic planet, the hexagon one, that's got like the glowing yellow strands that turn green at night. I think they could do that bioluminescent thing. I think if they could get that to work, that would make exploring at night so much better, because I don't even explore at night anymore. Like, I just fly around back to day to continue on with my life, because when it's dark, most of the creatures, I mean, now, since Atlas Rises, different creatures do come out at night sometimes, apparently. I don't think that was ever, like, talked about, but I think that was a change that they did make. But most of the time, when it's night, new creatures don't come out. All the creatures just disappear. So I just don't even deal with the night, because it's hard to take good screenshots at night, unless it's just of the sky, because everything's dark, or your ship or whatever. So I never even venture around at night anymore, because it's just, it's not as exciting as day. So I think glowing things, you know, that just goes along with biome diversity and visual update. I think if they changed how night works, I think people would definitely, enjoy it more, I guess, because I go to the day side of the planet on every planet I go to, and once it's night, I either give up on finding the creatures, or I just fly back around to the sunny side again. But yeah, I think that's I think a thing that could definitely happen when we talk about E3 gameplay. Bioluminescent planets or plants, I think, can happen. I think taller trees are a necessity, and I still am confused 2 years later why scale is such a weird thing in this game. Because you have this ginormous game, just 18 quintillion planets, planet-sized planets, but the trees are shorter than you.
It must be a thing. It must be a thing that when you go out into the galaxy and you go out into the universe, that trees just.
Yeah, maybe this is a universe where trees are not big. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe Earth's the only place that has it.
Yeah, Earth's the only place with big trees. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely like a scaling issue because you've got like if you look at your player model or just your player when you're walking around, your ship seems like a good size. Any ship that you get seems like a good size. Trees are always shorter or barely taller than you or your ship, and they show crystals like in concept art always being huge, but they're always small. And then as far as like mountains and cliffs go, people complain all the time that mountains and cliffs aren't vast or as steep enough. I could agree with steepness. Like you don't ever see like a drop, like a sheer drop of a cliff. Usually, I remember back right before game launch, there was a trailer out that showed a sheer drop of a cliff. I've never seen anything like that in the game. I still remember that. But I mean, that's the same thing when people say there's no rivers, but there are. You just don't find them often. But another thing, I think they should update the water, because water physics, like actually add waves, and things like that. I think would make. Because they had waves in E3 trailers. There's waves, and they, the shore washed up on the beaches and things like that. I mean, that being said, I don't know if they should work on water if they're not going to make water have a point. Water.
Yeah.
Water's just there because I feel like they put water there because they were like, well, if we don't, they're going to ask why there's no planets with water. So let's just do it. Because there's nothing. There's nothing underwater to find. You can't make if they allowed you to make a base underwater, right? Build a base underwater, had like a unique style, like kind of like Subnautica, and then gave you an ease of access to like get to your base through water without having to slowly trudge through it for an hour to get there. I think that would be enough, honestly. Just that, because people want to have their base underwater. Some people like that. I think that would be cool. They don't have to do anything but that. I mean, that's a lot, to be honest. But I don't know what else they would do. What could they add underwater that would make water, explore, like have a point to explore?
Well, I mean, you've made a couple points about finding like procedurally generated,
right,
kind of like relics and stuff like that would help build towards, it's something that we could talk about at length at another time, whether it went to another technology or something like that. But these relics that you can go around and find that are like really rare, and even if underwater was the only place that you do find them, I think that if there was an additional upgrade that you could do to your suit, that it just allowed for faster travel underwater.
Yeah.
You don't have to give us a submarine.
No, exactly.
You don't have to give us, something that's really, out of this world. Just an additional augment to your pack that when you go underwater, it's like a jet or something like that, just pushes you a lot faster and you're able to explore a lot faster. And I mean, it'll make things like, hunting for hydrogen and stuff like that a lot easier and a lot less.
Yeah, slow.
It was horrible.
I mean, and I think a lot of people, honestly, if they just added an upgrade to the exosuit that allowed you to go underwater faster, a lot of people would be disappointed because a lot of people, for some reason, want submarines. I don't really understand because if you imagine a submarine in the game now, you're not going to use it because there's nothing underwater. And it's just going to be like, hey, cool, let me look at it. And then 10 minutes later, you're just going to go back to land. And you're not going to care. because there's no point. So yeah, that we could talk about the procedural collectibles is the thing I talked about, and that I think would be probably, if I were to think of the coolest thing, if like on my list of what I want in No Man's Sky next, being the next update, I would definitely, number one is variation in diversity with biomes or flora and fauna, biomes, whatever it may be. That I want for sure. And you have to think that they are going to have that because we're already getting ringed planets, and that's a new form of a planet. So why not update the surface of planets as well? You know, if they just add a ring to a planet, I mean, how much different is that really going to make that planet? Not at all. If they just add a ring, I mean, woohoo. It's going to make photos cooler. That's about it. And depending on how they do a ring, is a ring going to be just a ring like in Rayrod's mod, where it's just like a graphic of a ring, or is it actually going to be asteroids that make the ring? But on the second on that list would be procedural collectibles, because that would, if people, almost everybody enjoys exploration. That's like the main thing that I see people liking about No Man's Sky. You know, everybody likes buying ships and, you know, dealing with ships and getting the best ship, and then a lot of people like farming, getting billions and billions of pointless units. And a lot of people like taking pictures and just walking around, and that's all I do. But I think adding procedural collectibles would make exploring so much nicer for everybody, because that adds a reason to explore. Like right now, you can make pretty good units just scanning creatures if you have all the analyzer upgrades. You can make pretty good units doing that. And that's how I made my units. Other than that, there's no real progression that comes from just exploring, besides, you know, mining whatever you come across, and that doesn't really require exploring because you could just scan for it. Procedural collectibles, I feel like something you can't necessarily see. You can't just scan for it and then boom, go to it. You're there like it's Assassin's Creed and you just know where all the collectibles are. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you get like a ping on you're flying your starship and you get like a ping, and it notices an artifact on a planet, right? Obviously, it can't just tell you, hey, it's on this planet, look for it, because the planets are too large for that. But give you a region, right? Maybe like just a circle that like holograms onto the planet's surface or whatever, and when you're on the ground, it gives you a layout, like a map. Maybe if they added like some kind of map, like if you imagine like a wristwatch that you look at, and it's just got the area, and it's like, it doesn't have to be detailed, but have like a circle on it, and then your marker, like a red dot, and then you could walk around that circle, and somewhere there is a procedurally generated artifact or collectible, and you have to find it. And it could be in caves, it could be underwater, it could be just on the ground, it could be, I don't know, maybe in a building or something like that. Maybe it's being protected, or, you know, I don't know what, you know, means they could go to. But even if it's just simple and it's just sitting there on the ground, having these like procedural things to go find, whether or not they do anything, I mean, they could always be, you know, if they add rarities or procedurally generated equipment, or like add stat boosts to your multi-tool. I mean, they kind of have stats now with like the classes and, you know, A, B, C, and S class or whatever. But if they added like actual stats, like percentages, you could see the percentages of your sprint speed increasing and things like that, like modules that you can attach to your exosuit. And these artifacts gave you the ability to do that. Or maybe these collectibles are just collectibles and you find them, but they're procedurally generated, so they look different, and then you could go put them in your base, like just hang them up or set them on a desk, or, you know, and actually have a collection. And then, you know, we know there's multiplayer now. People would want that stuff and buy that stuff. I would be just a collector if that was a thing. I would spend all my units on those things. You know, I think that would be, you know, like you could be a relic hunter almost. I think that'd be super dope. Even if they don't do anything, that's a whole nother gameplay aspect that I think people would cling to. Versus right now, exploration is great. You walk around, just take pictures and whatnot. But I think if they were to tie some sort of progression, as minimal as it might be, to exploration, a lot of people would fall into it more often than just, because every other gameplay aspect really leads to getting more units, and that's it. That's the progression loop, is, do this to get more units, to do this to get faster units, to do this to get even more faster units, to do this to get more units. It's just generally the loop of progression right now. So I feel like any kind of procedural collectible artifact, whatever it may be, maybe it just gives you a piece of lore. A lot of lore hunters would be after things like that. I don't know. That's my opinion on procedural. There's so many options with procedural like collectibles or whatever that they could do. I mean, that would make underwater have a reason, at least, if they could be generated underwater. And then you would definitely have to have like a speed boost for underwater, which I think needs to be added no matter what, really. Sometimes people like going underwater still. I mean, if they're not going to change underwater with this update at all, at least give us a speed module for underwater for people who want to go under there for some reason, right? Or get stuck under there. Who are trying to scan a fish that's all the way in the middle and then have to swim 30 minutes back to shore. So anyway, that's my thoughts on whatever we were talking about. I'm out of breath now.
That's nice though. That's why I like it. I like those ideas. I actually would think that and to kind of build on that a little bit. I think that would be awesome. And if they tied a mechanic to it, it's kind of like crafting. And I know that crafting is already in the game, but once again, it kind of goes back to what you were saying, to what means.
Right.
I mean, you craft these things to make a warp drive. You craft these things to, do this, do that, or to sell it for credits. And you craft these to sell it for credit. And so what if you were able to do crafting to the point where you find these relics, you find multiple relics, and you're able to put 2 or 3 of them together, in order to make, some sort of, super augment or something like that to your system that has 3 statistics, on it. Like you might be able to go and put it on your soup slot, and it has, just like you said, percentages. Maybe you don't have to worry about your life support drain, minus 12%. It also has, something like toxicity drain, minus 23%, something like 3 different stat rolls or something like that. And so maybe that'll entice you to go out, find more, be more of a hunter, so you can put them together to create this something that
just build,
something that you'd be able to craft in a crafting station or something like that at a base, which would give you another reason to actually have a base, to make this crafting station, to start trying to put together ways to be even stronger and even more resilient in your exploration.
Yeah,
I think that would be dope too.
I feel like just adding procedural collectibles or things that, going off of what we've been talking about, would add so much to gameplay loops, because you would have the people who just like exploring, finding them, and if there was like a crafting mechanic where you put 3 together and it gives you like this random set of properties, right? And it doesn't tell you what you're going to get, but they do like the No Man's Sky kind of vague thing where after a while you find out what artifacts give you what, and then putting together in certain ways give you certain things. Kind of like in Diablo 2 is a game I played, they have a thing called a cube, and you put stuff into that cube and you have recipes for it, but most of the recipes, they don't tell you how to get the outcome. You just try a bunch of stuff until it works. And I think that would be awesome. So you'd have the people exploring, finding these things just because they like to collect, or if you could set them up in your base or whatever they may be. And then you have the people who would like to buy them, and that would affect the economy as far as buying and selling and trading. And then those people are always after certain ones to upgrade them just a bit more, and that affects then PvP or bounty hunters or whatever it may be, because they're after them but they don't want to buy them, so they just want to take them. And that's a whole gameplay loop right there, just focused around one addition. I don't know how hard procedurally generated collectibles would be. I'm assuming everything with No Man's Sky is hard to make, to be honest, but I think that would be... I don't think it's going to be in the game, because I don't think enough people are talking about that, and they say they're listening to the community feedback, and that's what this update's based on. What that means, I have no idea, except for multiplayer and PvP, because that's something people have been asking for ages, and a variety update, which I pray comes. Because if it doesn't come, then I think a lot of people are going to be a little disappointed.
Has to, and I think just based on their track record from the updates that we've got in the past, they've given that to us every single time.
Yeah. Right.
You know, so I don't think there's any reason to believe that they wouldn't give it to us this time. And the very last one with the last update, the way that they gave us the exotic worlds, give me more of that.
Right.
Give me more of those weird, funky worlds. And even if you make them 10 times as rare, 100 times as rare,
they should.
And I don't see them. Yeah, and I don't see them as often. That would make it even more interesting for me because once again, we're explorers, right? So if I see a screenshot of it, I'm okay with that. You know, you get on Twitter, you see like, oh my God, that's out there. That exists. I've never seen one before, you know? And so now you're out there looking for one. And in your travels, you find something that nobody else has even seen. So, I mean, I just want more of those styles. They had a fantastic idea as far as that's concerned. And I don't care that we don't find them like lush worlds. For some reason, we don't find those exotic planets that are like lush, beautiful planets. I heard they exist, but they're just so rare, so rare. But I don't know, man. I just give me more of that. Give me more of those exotic worlds. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I think they have a good idea with those, but I think they need to execute it because they call it exotic, but I find them all the time, and they're not varied enough. Like, especially when you find one that's the same. Like, if you find a bubble planet, the other bubble planet's going to look the same for the most part. It's just bubbles, which is great. And they look cool, and they've got that machine thing where you can get lore from, which I've rarely ever done because the lore confuses me still to this day, especially those weird circle things that you can read on those planets. But they're not rare enough, and there's really nothing you can do there. I mean, there's rarely any mining stuff. You know, it's like a pretty place. You go and you take a few pictures and you leave. I think they need to be more rare and they need to have more of a purpose because especially a lot of the people who, you know, are 100%ers or want to learn all their lore, they've already gone through and got all those lore tidbits and they've done that. Especially if you finish the story, get to the Atlas part of the story and choose a new galaxy to go to. If you go to the Ascendant galaxy, apparently that galaxy has more exotic planets. And that's where I ended up. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know they had any differences. But I come across those things like no tomorrow. So if they made them if they changed them, made them more visually appealing and added more of those different kinds of planets and added a purpose, then made them way more rare, then definitely for explorers, that's just another thing to go out and look for. Rather than now, I find it and I don't even land. I just take off. I'm like, this isn't varied enough. Because I could find planets that have been in the game since day one that are more varied than these. Yeah, they look cool. But, I don't even think... Can you make a base on those planets? On those exotic planets? I don't think you can.
I've found. I've tried and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to go like next door to it or something like that, and then that just kind of defeats the purpose.
Exactly, yeah. So you can't. I think I read somewhere that somebody did find a base that you can have on one of them, but for the most part, they're all abandoned or they're called redacted planets, low atmosphere planets, which means there's no trade stations, there's no aliens, there's no anything, no bases. It's just nothing except for detritum or whatever that pointless mining material is. So I definitely would like a change or an update, I guess, upgrade to exotic planets. I mean, because there's just a cool idea, and nobody knew they were coming at all. Nobody even expected new biomes. We weren't really, everybody wants new biomes and variation, and that's the thing with the updates is they're always like, hey, guess what? Base building, and then it's like 500 other things as well on when the patch notes come out. Or it's like with Atlas Rises, we knew there's going to be new ships, right? Because we got that like screenshot, and I can't remember what else. Oh, we knew the story because when Waking Titan ended and Sean came on that weird letter, he was like 30 hours of story, and he's like patch notes out tomorrow. Nobody expected multiplayer in any way, shape, or form. Nobody expected any kind of multiplayer. And when I read those patch notes and I was driving home from work and I seen everybody on Twitter freaking out, I was literally in my car driving home looking up like, how, Hello Games? How did you get this by without anybody realizing there's going to be multiplayer? Nobody expected multiplayer. in any time soon, because you would think they would at least be like, hey, multiplayer, because that would bring people back. And it was like a start, and that's what they're doing now, is hey, there's multiplayer, trying to bring people back into the game. But it was so cool because I was so stoked for them as a company, because I don't think anybody expected Atlas Rises and how much stuff we got in that update. We just knew portals and ships. That's all we knew. And now we know multiplayer. But once again, that's all we know. We have a player model. We have a new, whatever, freighter image. You saw that freighter image, right?
I did see the new freighter images, and we were it was being debated about exactly what size they were.
Right.
Were, if they were this big, not freighter size, but if they were kind of like half freighter size, kind of like battleship type of stuff. But yeah, but those are dope. Those are clean, man. Those
exactly. So all we know are those, whatever the heck they are, and multiplayer. And we got the player model today. We don't know anything else about the update. They haven't said anything. They said it's the biggest update yet. Oh, we do know that they're expanding on the story. They said that before anything. So they're expanding on the story, which is great. Multiplayer, and a ship that we don't know what it is. We literally have no other information. And I really don't think we're going to get that much information until E3, because I do believe that they're going to be, maybe not Hello Games specifically is going to be at E3, but I think No Man's Sky will make an appearance at E3. I did have a video out previously where I was like, heck no, No Man's Sky is not going to be at E3. This was before the Sean Murray interview, and I hoped it wouldn't be at E3, because I feel like if they were to show a No Man's Sky trailer at E3, it will be booed by everybody. That's my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
It will be 100% booed, because it's exactly what they did before. They showed it off at E3, people were hyped, and now everybody knows how it went down at launch. And if they just come back at the most viewed conference and show off another trailer to try to sell their game again, I don't think it's going to go over well, because I 100% bet that almost 80% of the people who are going to be at E3 have no effing idea as far as the updates No Man's Sky has gotten. I think 100% left and dropped the game when all the hate started. They don't know what's changed. And once, maybe people will be excited for it if they're showing a trailer, but once that $50 price tag for Xbox comes up, I don't know if they'll be happy. I mean, they can't expect it to release for free on Xbox, right? Obviously, because it hasn't been on Xbox. And they have to make their money. I mean, they do. I mean, I don't know if they do. I mean, I know they have a lot of money, so maybe they don't have to make any money, really. But I know they're pretty stacked as far as cash goes from the first launch. But I think now they will. Hello Games will be at E3, because Sean, at least we know Sean went to that Inside Xbox interview. We don't know if any other Hello Games members are there or around in in wherever it was recorded. He traveled all the way there for an 8-minute interview on Inside Xbox, a show I had never heard about until he was going to be there, or No Man's Sky was going to be there. I think if he's willing to go there for that, he's going to be at E3, or No Man's Sky will be at E3. If they want to sell No Man's Sky next. Because where else? Where else will they be able to really show it off to definitely Xbox players and the world again before launch? There's not another place. It's just E3 in June. There's not another conference. I know Gamescom. I don't know when that is. But I think E3 is definitely, I think they're going to be there. Whether or not, I doubt Sean is going to be on stage, okay? If he's on stage, they better have some, like, police there watching, like, tops of buildings for snipers. Like, I'm telling you, it's not going to be good, all right? Like, Sean can't be on stage. I think people know his face too much. He walks out, it's just... It's over at that point. Yeah. They need to have a spokesperson, or they need to have Phil Spencer from Microsoft come out on stage and talk about it. And then they need to, I think, if they show gameplay, they need to show the trailer and the gameplay first and then say have the No Man's Sky title screen at the end. If they come up and it says No Man's Sky next, instant boo. Okay?
Yeah.
We don't want the title first, just the gameplay. And people are like, wow. I mean, a lot of people will be like, well, this is No Man's Sky, obviously. But at least have gameplay. Up in the top corner, actual footage needs to be read clearly. Okay? Because we don't want another E3 trailer where everybody's like, heck yeah, and everybody buys the game, and none of that's possible. Okay? Because as much as that happened early on before, and I don't think will happen again, other people just love to hate this game so much. I mean, that's just the end of that. I hope it doesn't get booed if they show it. I think they will show it. I still think there's like a 70% chance it's going to get booed. But
more than most likely it's going to get booed.
I don't think a game has ever been booed on an E3 stage. I'm pretty sure that's never happened, actually. But if Microsoft is willing to team up with Hello Games after launch of No Man's Sky and how that went, they definitely know, and 505 Games as well, the publisher, they 100% know that it's going to be worth it in some way, shape, or form. That something big is coming. I mean, multiplayer, it can't just be multiplayer. It can't just be multiplayer. I mean, it's been a year of an update. You know, and Sean said on that interview when Atlas Rises came out, they were, you know, they looked back and they were like, we've got a good thing going. The game is, you know, getting more popular. The community is super into the game and into the ARG. Let's take a year and just work our asses off on this next update and get what people want in the game. So I feel like more than multiplayer. We're going to get way more than multiplayer and just multiplayer. And I hope that there's not a lot of bugs with the multiplayer. They said they've been balancing and playtesting for 6 months already, which is kind of insane. They must have been working on multiplayer before. They've been already playtesting for 6 months. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know as far as the extent of this update, but I think it's going to be the largest, and I think we're going to get so much more than just being able to walk around with 3 people, fly around with 3 people. But I think it's gonna be so dope, especially if like they implement, like if they were to implement right now there's you know how there's proximity chat in the game. So if like I found you in a portal, or I go through a portal and I see you and I'm like, hey Law, and you like hear my voice in a distance, I think that's so cool. But if they leave that in the game and you're like flying around in your in your ship and you just hear somebody talking, you're like, what the frick? It's just like what the heck is going on? I think that'd be so cool. Especially like imagine if we're in a squad and still like we're not in a party chat on PlayStation, but still proximity chat is on and we can only speak to each other like when we're close. Just imagine like space battles when we're all flying around trying to communicate. Everybody's voice just like trails off. That's just
somebody's out of range.
Yeah, it'd be so cool. I think that'd be so dope. We'd be like, we can't hear you, and you're off. You like die, and we just hear like like scream like RP, like role playing it. I think that'd be hilarious.
Back at the space station.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I mean, that actually makes for because when your ship gets destroyed in game right now, you lose your inventory, right? And that's it. I think
it turns into a grave that you have to collect, just like
on
foot. So,
yeah. So, I mean, with PvP, if I kill you, space, take your inventory, I just fly off, warp out of here. You're screwed.
Nothing you can do.
Yeah, that's it. That'd be pretty interesting. And I kind of hope that. What is it? They used to have that feature that they talked about a long time ago. They said if you were to get into a space fight over, that's what they need to do. They need to implement like surface, like flying over the surface of a planet, but still be in a space fight. Is that a thing yet?
Yeah. It
is a thing, right? In Rayrod's mod,
they'll chase you down. They'll chase you down to the planet's surface. Right.
In Rayrod's mod, it's like times 10, where there's everybody just like around the planets fighting. You could be just on foot, and there's other ships fighting like right above the surface. But they used to have, like, if you were to get shot down above a planet's surface, you would then respawn on the surface of that planet with a crashed ship. Is that a thing?
No, your ship just spawns away
Yeah,
from you.
exactly. So I think that would be dope because that used to be a thing where if you were shot down over a planet, you'd respawn and your ship would be crashed on that planet because that makes sense.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Like you respawn and your ship is usually like at 8 to 10 minutes away or something like that. That's your like your punishment.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
If you didn't have enough resources at that time and your resources were on your ship and you lost those resources, then you can't call your ship to you. And if you don't have the chip, then you can't, call it there either. So it's just like your 8 to 10 minute walk of shame back to your ship to go get your stuff.
Yep. I think that'd be pretty sweet. Just things to immerse you. That's what we need. Really, we need immersion. I don't want to call it the immersion update because that's Ray Rod's mod update, but that always comes to mind. Just having trees blow in the wind would just make it so much better, even if they don't increase the height of trees. It's amazing when I saw those trees blowing in the wind in that gameplay in the background, whether or not that's old or new gameplay or E3 game, whatever it may be. I was like, wow, yeah, trees don't blow in No Man's Sky. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why don't they? That's such a simple like animation. It doesn't even have to be that good, just
sway no matter what the wind level is. Just
like when there's a storm, the trees still don't move if it's storming. It's just the grass, right? I think
it's the grass, the bushes. I think some of the stuff on the trees move, but not the
trees.
The stalk of the tree and all of that branches and stuff.
Yeah, the grass will be going crazy. I know that. Grass freaking... That's how you know a storm's coming, because the grass will start freaking shaking. You're like, great. Storm. It's so strange that I never really thought about it, that the trees didn't move. It might be because the grass moves so much that I just think everything's moving. But just trees moving would freaking be great. I mean, that's a really low-end thing to ask for. Like... It can't be that hard.
Trees. Yeah. Well, and it's about the density too. I mean, even when you, I can't tell you how many times I've landed on a planet and it was like a forest world or something like that, a jungle planet, jungle world, and you get down there and it's the most sparse population of trees that you've ever seen in your life. You're like, okay, well, I guess since there's trees here, I mean, we go back to
That's so good. I have a video out there somewhere where I was doing gameplay back when I was playing No Man's Sky and uploading it, where I was like, oh, sweet, a jungle planet. I go down there, no trees, and I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. It's a jungle planet with 0 trees. I guess I don't know the literal definition of a jungle, but I'm pretty sure when I think jungle, the first thing I think of is a lot of trees. The fact that there was 0 trees on a jungle planet is insane. I mean, that was before Atlas Rises. I don't know if that... You could probably still find that now. I mean, it's hard to find tons of trees together. One of my favorite screenshots of No Man's Sky that I've taken is a snowy planet that's got tons of trees. And
the only place you find them.
Yeah, and when I found that, I landed my ship and got out, and it was like already the perfect screenshot. And I got up on the mountain behind my ship and looked out at all the trees. I was like, this is the first and only time I've ever seen this many trees. Took the screenshot, and then my game instantly crashed.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I got the screenshot. Exactly, it's like... It was like the game couldn't handle the trees. Okay, it instantly crashed my game. And that's the only time I've ever seen that many trees. And I have people all the time. They're like, dude, I found this planet that was all water, all trees. And I'm like, you gotta give me a screenshot because
you're not telling me.
So
a water world? No.
I've played so much. There's still people out there that played way more than me. Like my friend Sean's got like 4,000 hours. Like people play way more than I play. Law, you probably played more than me. As far as the video, I make daily No Man's Sky content. I don't play the game that much. It's mainly because I'm waiting for the update or whatever. I mean, when it launched, I played like no tomorrow. The more I play, the less videos I make. That's basically where we're at. So if I'm playing the game, I'm not making videos. And that's kind of how it was at launch. When the game came out, I was so tired of just talking about the game I just wanted to play, and I didn't want to record. I just wanted to sit down and play a game that I'd waited for 2 years. Screw YouTube. That was my mentality at that point when the game came out. Because it was ruining the experience for me, playing and having to record every second of it. So that's why I stopped videos. Once launch came, I had stopped videos for a while, plus all the hate and stuff like that. I had kind of ceased on daily videos, but then I got back into it. The less I played, the more videos I made. So I still like the game, for sure, but it's gotten to a point where I just go into creative mode and walk around and take pictures and look for like diplos or like really weird looking creatures that I've never seen before, which are still out there. My friend Sean posts pictures every day of different creatures and stuff that I've never seen. He's always saying that, he's always saying this is a popular thing amongst a lot of people who play the game a lot, is if you're complaining about variation or seeing the same thing twice, stop, because, you haven't seen everything, which is true, but I don't think it's right to say you have to play 4,000 hours to see something new. I don't think that should be how the game works. Yeah, right. Seeing things that are rare and great, but saying that you've played the game for 2 years, you got to play for another 200 hours before you see something new, that's not variation. That's just luck at that point. Like, that's extreme luck. I think there's got to be a consistency to the variation. Whereas everybody's played for so much now that it's hard to keep playing when you see all the same stuff you've seen, for the most part, right? If that's what you're doing, is exploring. If you're not into farming or mining or any of that jazz, or buying a freighter, which I've never done but one time, but I might get back into streaming before Next comes out, because there's that thing where I just don't know if once Next releases, we're going to have to start a new save to play multiplayer. I think it's a possibility. I don't know how much of a possibility it is, because I know a lot of people will be like, really? You don't have to get rid of your old save, but you have to start over for multiplayer. But I think a lot of people would do that. I think a lot of people would be like, whatever, multiplayer. That's what we want. And then start that way. I think it would be a lot cooler to start over with a group. Everybody starts over at one time, and then you can see progression with your squad of people, rather than Jimmy over here's got 6 billion. Me, Phil, and Tom have just started. Oh, we don't have to do anything because we got 6 billion units already. Right? There's no like progression there. It's like everything's already done because he's got so many units. We don't have to do any work. We'll just milk off of Jimmy, right? And his 6 bill. So I think starting over in a multiplayer group, and then, everybody gets on at one time, we all like do whatever, and then, people leave for the night or whatever, and you go out and explore by yourself for a bit, come back to, give stuff to other people and help out the squad. I think that would be the best experience to play multiplayer for me. Right now I don't have a save. I've deleted my saves already. I don't have my saves anymore. I've 100% given up on my saves already. So I've done that since, and my old launch save is already gone. So I don't have anything holding me back already. But I still think it would be the best way to start a multiplayer save, because that journey experience is what I want again. And then I think having it from the beginning with multiple people would be super cool to have. Rather than having everything already and just doing whatnot. But that all hopefully goes with progression. Hopefully they change something with progression, so where there's an actual feeling of getting something done, rather than just mining and farming units all day, except just with 3 other people. So I'm kind of on the fence about starting streaming again. I do want to stream No Man's Sky, and if I do, it won't even be on YouTube. So I just can't do the YouTube stream thing. I want to try to stream on Mixer. DM21 keeps telling me, or keeps mentioning it, or has mentioned it, about streaming on Mixer. I know he streams on Mixer, and he says No Man's Sky does pretty well over there. So I've tried Twitch. Twitch is too big. You can't get anything done on Twitch ever. Yeah. I don't like YouTube streaming service. I just don't like it, because it's meant for videos. I don't like the streaming. I can watch people stream, but I'm not a fan of the streaming. And I've streamed on Mixer before, and it seems like the community is really chill as far as streams I've watched there. So, and it's Xbox based, and they're getting No Man's Sky now. So, and I know a lot of Microsoft and Xbox players that are hyped for it, and they should be. I mean, they haven't had the opportunity to hate the game because they haven't had the opportunity to play it. So they don't have any criticism for it because they even had the chance to be able to criticize it, which is cool. It's like a fresh community where nobody hates the game, which is great. So I think Mixer would be a good place to stream it. So everybody out there watching this video, go follow me on Mixer. Link in the description. Haha. Just might as well plug that while I'm here. We'll see about streams there later this week, and I'll probably just be playing normal and starting over. Because I want to get back into that, finding a cool ship and I've never found an S-class, ship or multi-tool, unless it's an alien ship, which suck anyway. Why did they do that? Why did they bring those alien ships in with like 7 slots? What kind of crap is that? 7-slot alien ship. Yeah, they have a max. I think I read the max was like 12 or something like that.
Yeah, they had to patch it. It ended up being like I think like 14 or something like that.
Why?
So I don't know. And you remember when they first came? It was like 1-3.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They came and they were fantastic. I loved those ships. I was like, oh, that's awesome. But they didn't have tech slots or something like that.
Yeah.
It was something about the tech slots were jacked up, and so then they patched it. But then that meant that you had to get rid of those ships too. And so then I had to go out and find a whole new set of S-class ships to replace. And so I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It was a mess. It was definitely a mess. But I love those starships.
Yeah.
I still don't have the Squidward, but
yeah,
I love all of them.
I saw somebody post something on Twitter earlier. It was like it was an older looking ship that we'd had, but it was silver and gold, and it was an S-class. It wasn't alien. And I was like, jeez. He said he spent days in the same system waiting for that ship to fly over and be an S-class. I was like, are you kidding me, dude? It's like, that's insane. That's some dedication.
I'm willing to admit that I sat at trading posts waiting for starships to just come in and out.
Yeah.
That was, I did that live. Actually sat there on the live stream doing absolutely nothing but waiting for S-class ships to come.
I would do that. The only other thing I'd be doing is sitting in photo mode for 30 minutes straight. So can't be more boring than that. I was trying, those filters, like you can change the filters in the game and then you can play with those filters on. I was trying playing with contrast. Oh my god, I was killing my eyes. Trying to play with these weird filters, the pink and blue one, artistic. It's so weird. I might try to do a time lapse with one of those weird filters on. See what people like that. just really strange, the black and white filter.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say it. Yeah,
it's so strange playing with filters like that. Especially there's that one that makes everything look super dark and creepy. That one's just scary, man. I can't even do that walking around at night with that thing on. You have to actually use your flashlight because the colors are so wonky. Anyway, and that's another thing people are asking for before we end this because it's gone on. Jeez, we've talked for freaking forever. I knew this would go on for a while because I always could. It just time flies by really when you're talking about this. Same with Cobra's live stream. It's I'll jump into the chat and be like, yeah, I'll be here for about 20 minutes. I'll get 5 words in because there's so many people, and then 3 hours later he's like, it's over, and I'm like, oh, all right. And he's like, oh, Jared's here, and I'm like, yeah, I've been here this whole time. That's my experience on Cobra's live streams. But people say they want darker planets, planets where at night it gets night, so you have to use your flashlight, right, and you can't see and things like that. I think that'd be cool because right now the flashlight's pointless unless you're using a filter for some reason and you have to use it. But oh yeah, one thing, the new concept art, right? The new box art. Did you hear? You seen that in the background, way in the mountains or something that looks like a city?
I saw that.
You think that's a city, or do you think that's rocks? I'm
gonna say it's a city.
Really? Okay.
And you have to think of it in that's a perspective.
Yeah. If those were rocks, those are freaking huge rocks, dude.
And so they're all the way in the back in the horizon. And thinking about perspective, if those things are that tall, I mean, what the hell are they?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, so it has to be a cityscape. It has to be something like that. It can't be rocks that are shaped of some sort of weird mountains that look like a city. Like, no, they're not going to make that mistake. They're not going to do anything like that.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it is.
I mean, this was done by Bo, the artist that's always done No Man's Sky art, that he's on the Hell Games team. He knows. I say city to hype it up because that's my channel now. Because why not? You know, if I hype or don't hype, I still get hate for hyping, so might as well go full force with the hype. I say that's a city. Like, that's got to be huge rocks. That's got to be ginormous rocks if those are rocks. I mean, yeah, I guess
bigger than. I mean, well, if those are rocks, then
look how big they are compared to the mountain, like right next to it. Giant.
So that brings us to a whole nother point. Then we have some mountain-sized rocks coming.
Right, exactly.
Next. That's a new video.
Yeah, that's a new video. Oh man, that's
mountain-sized
great.
rocks are coming to Inimus next.
Yeah, I was gonna make a whole funny like parody video based on that city/rock conspiracy, or not conspiracy, but argument. I was thinking about it. Maybe I will. So we got mountain-sized rocks now confirmed instead of a city. It's just so weird to be like right there. I think why? I mean, he's an artist. Maybe he knows. I mean, but why put it there if it was gonna cause debate? I mean, that obviously the first time I saw that, I was like, city. There's no way Bo drew that in. And it was like, you know, this could be taken either way. I think he knows what he's doing. I mean, when it comes to making this, for sure. And they covered it's not on the box art, right? It's not on the box art. And then Elke, the German, he used to be the German No Man's Sky YouTuber. He still does cover No Man's Sky. He was saying the guy next to it is holding binoculars, and he was like, maybe that's signifying that we'll see cities far down the line, and that's why it's so far away. You get it? So we'll see cities eventually, but they're a little ways away. And I was like, yeah, they're being super like in depth with this thing, and I was like, hey man, whatever works. And then you know, DM21 Gaming put a poll on Twitter. He's like, city or rocks, and it was, I think 67% said rocks, and I was like, that's actually pretty even as far as I thought it would have been. I'm like, and I was telling him, I put on there, I was like, maybe this is the complex colonies that Sean was talking about, right? Maybe it's, you know, that could be a form of a city. He said players can build complex colonies. Maybe that's a complex colony all the way back there. A colony could be a city. I mean, so it could still be a thing. It's so funny though that became like a thing on Twitter. It was like people just blow up, like just, oh my god, it's a city, guys. Everybody was like, confirmed, city's confirmed. So I put a video out, city's confirmed in No Man's Sky. Everybody's like, those are probably just rocks. I'm like, man, that's not fun. I can't make a video on rocks confirmed in No Man's Sky. Like, what do you want from me? If we can take that ringed planet, you know, and the whole planet behind the Atlas, people are like, it's a gas giant, when clearly, like, it could be anything because it's a planet from a distance. We can take that as a city.
Yeah, that's definitely not a gas giant.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody said gas giant and then people are like, well, it looks like there's a crater on it, and craters can't be on gas giants. And I'm like, what are we saying? Craters are now confirmed? Like, what? What is this argument that we're having right now? I mean, it's getting too technical. It's like, I don't know. It's freaking weird. It's just box art. We know for a fact multiplayer is confirmed, and the player model is confirmed. Everything else, as far as like the creature like drinking the water on the ground, we can't say that creatures drinking water are confirmed. I mean, I probably will if I make a video on it. I mean, in the old footage, and Sean was like, yeah, if creatures are hungry, they'll go eat. If creatures are thirsty, they'll drink from the water. It's a living, breathing world or whatever, but that never happens.
I think your sense of humor will work very well for this. You need to make this video.
Right.
And you just need to confirm all of
all this. Like, you see the ship? The ship is open. Oh my god, dude. We can now leave our ship doors open, confirmed. They don't close. Yep.
I can see that too. Like I'm laughing and I could see it coming a mile away. That would be hilarious.
You see the yellow guy with his fist up in the air? It looks like we're gonna be able to have emotes confirmed. Yes, emotes confirmed.
Oh my goodness.
Trees. Oh no, I guess trees are sometimes on mountains, on the sides of mountains. I mean, those emu creatures over there confirmed. I haven't seen a creature like that in the game yet. Honestly, I don't think I have. It looks like an emu mixed with like an armadillo or something. I haven't seen anything like that.
Something like that, but not that in particular.
I don't know. I mean, what else can we go? You know, Atlas the size of a planet confirmed.
Planet-sized atlas on the surface.
On the surface of planets, yeah, confirmed. Oh my gosh!
So you can also now own an entire freighter fleet.
Yeah,
that is also confirmed as well because you can own all of those now. Those are yours.
You got multiple freighters, a fleet of freighters, if you will, confirmed.
Confirmed fleet.
You can be on a planet and have your ship flying above you, confirmed. The same time. Just, yeah, it's great. It's going to be good.
At the same time, yep.
I mean, they're there. I don't know. I don't know what else really
can boil down to it. That's a city.
Yep. That's what I say. That's what I think.
It's not a gas giant. Yes, those are rings.
Yep.
You can own an extra freighter. That would be nice, you know, especially if you're going to add new starship like styles and like a new set of awesome, you know, exotic starships or something like that. Maybe it'd be awesome if I could own two. Might be overkill, but I mean, I'll take it. I'll buy it. I've got $1 billion or $2 billion laying around.
Right. I think they really need to make a purpose for freighters. I mean, there's a purpose for everything, but it all just leads to units and storage. Really.
And I've wondered about this too. Like, when I look at the box art for Xbox, and I look at the player models, and you look at the starships, and you remember, just like we were talking about just a bit ago, when we were getting the concept art for those new exotic starships, weren't those things so sexy? I mean, when you look at the pages where there were like 3, I believe it was like 2 or 3. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I had to flip back to Discord. But, you know, you had those pages where it filled with like 12 ships, and they had all of the gold accents and the white, and, you know, mixed with all those, and the purple, like, engine flames, and everything looked so dope. And when we got it in game, we got something like that, but it didn't kind of look like that. And a lot of the concept art, of course, before the game came out, we didn't get that either.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's almost a missed opportunity. You know, when you look at this player models on the box art, I mean, you had a chance to kind of give us something, because when I look at that, I kind of think, especially the images that we got from Waking Titan, I mean, that just reminds me of a spacesuit.
Yeah.
You know, no bells, no whistles. I mean, sure, he has the backpack, and, you know, there's some stuff going on there with the extra, you know, mechanical part kind of sticking up from the backpack. And by the way, I thought that was on his shoulder. When you look at the box art image, I swore that was on his shoulder. But apparently it's coming off his backpack when you look at the Waking Titan images. But, I mean, it's just kind of heightened that image, that holographic image. It's kind of, you know, it's an astronaut.
Yeah.
You know? And I really feel like they had an opportunity to really push the boundaries on the style of this suit. And I know it might be upgradable, and just like we were discussing earlier, you might be able to add this and add that and different parts and pieces that kind of make you stand out from the crowd, if that's a thing. I don't know how many parts you'd be able to put together to like actually stand out, but you know, they had a chance to really do something really sleek and really awesome and No Man's Sky-like, you know, and it feels like an astronaut.
Yeah, I think what they're gonna do is I think they're gonna explain why we look like that, or why we're like that, and not, because I think a lot of people expected it to be alien-like, like a lot, you know, like the travelers in the game right now. People are like, we are the travelers or whatever. I don't know, like lore based or what's going on with lore or whatever, but I like the look. Only because I don't know what else they would have done. Like beyond, I know they could have been like super creative or whatever. I like it, but you know, another thing is really if we want to talk about confirming things on this box art, the player model that we got today looks exactly like the box art, so we can just 100% confirm everything in the box art now, I think.
Oh yeah, box art, everything.
Everything's confirmed. I mean, player model is the exact, like, there's no, I could put that hologram over the box art in a video and it would match up. Like, it's like perfect. Backpack, everything's exact. So, I mean, in that case, if we're talking about exact, we're going to be getting freaking cities confirmed.
It all comes back.
It all comes back to the cities. But as far as like how the player model looks, I like how it looks. I just hope we can customize it, you know, and make it different, because like on the box art, generally they're the same, right? Minor differences and whatnot, but I think it'd be cool to like see your buddy, you know, and you'd be like, oh, that's, you know, this person, because you know, because of the armor and the stuff that they've got on. I think that might be pushing a little too far in the way of like RPG-ish. I don't know. I think customization is going to be there, but I don't think it's going to be super in depth. But I like how the people look. When I seen the hologram, I was going crazy in the Twitter messaging group that we got on Twitter. Everybody seemed to like him pretty much. I just don't know what else they would have done. Because if they looked more alien-like, I feel like that would have like a lot of like lore aspect. Then again, we don't know what we look like on the inside. Ooh, I mean, we got a suit. Unless we could take our helmet off. I mean, what are we under the suit? See, we still got that mystery. So there you go. So we look like a human. Maybe we're robots, man. Never know. Maybe we're just, maybe it's still those orbs. Like you like, oh, take off your mask and it's just that floating orb.
Floating orb.
Floating orb. Yeah, and that's all it is. It's just our like soul or whatever. I mean, because they have this whole Waking Titan thing that's like, we're being mind controlled and like put in No Man's Sky's reality for them to like suck our brains or some weird crap. There's so much going on with Waking Titan that I just don't even know. That's why I stopped 100% following it to the point, because that's why I made those super in-depth Waking Titan videos, because I have no idea whatever is happening. You know, last night was probably the first time that I had some sort of idea what was going on, and I was, you know, working with everybody, or not working with everybody, trying to find out and solve all the glyphs, and that was cool because I knew what to do and what was generally happening, even though we were kind of breaking the system when it comes to Waking Titan. That was still cool because I at least understood what was happening. Most of the time, I'm like, what happened today? And, you know, in the Twitter message group, they'll be like, too much, don't ask. And I'm like, okay. They just give me what's important. I'm like, I don't need to know everything. If L Plays makes a video on it, I'll watch it. But if not, I'm not going to learn. And I'm not going to cover it because it's way too much. That's what I said in my video. I was like, Waking Titan's popping off. It's going crazy. I'm not going to tell you about it. I'm just going to tell you about the important stuff. Because I'm not going through that jazz. A lot of people do Waking Titan videos, so I don't need to do that. It'd just be boring. I would have to read from a script. There's no way I can just randomly memorize that and talk about it in my like carefree way. It wouldn't work. Anyway, we've been talking for a long freaking time. This video is gonna be long, dude. This video, I'm not editing this video. It's gonna be long. I'll cut out.
You're just gonna lay it out there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it out there. So I might. I don't know. Maybe I should cut it up into 2 parts. I mean, I can't cut it up into 2 parts now because we didn't like segue into an end at any point. So
I think it was just a consistent conversation.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, but before we end it, tell everybody who's watching where they can find you, Law.
Always find me on Twitter at Lawofevolution, all one word, of course. And you can definitely catch me on YouTube. I upload weekly, bi-weekly, more often, especially as No Man's Sky Next creeps closer. But that is my social media. It's just definitely YouTube and Twitter.
Right.
You can get Jared to squeeze that in the description as well.
Yeah, I'll put that in the description, and then it might be like in the pinned comment or whatever, because a lot of people don't read the descriptions, which I put a lot of time and effort into, so thanks for that, not reading them. But it's fine. Just watch the video. Enjoy it. So I'll pin it in the comments. Go check out his YouTube. He's close to that subscriber 1,000 milestone. He's almost there, okay? He's so close after that new YouTube monetize rule where everybody's got to hit that 1K. So he'll be streaming next for sure. I mean, there's no doubt about that. When next releases, he'll be streaming on YouTube. He's a good streamer. I mean, when I never watched YouTube No Man's Sky streams. I don't think I watch anybody stream No Man's Sky. Unless it's somebody I know, like LZ, or, a YouTuber that I talk to a lot, I'll watch just because I support them. The only stream I watched of No Man's Sky was Laws, before I knew who he was and all that. I never watched any other streams. So that should say something, I guess. So check out, he's got videos over there about No Man's Sky and whatnot, but definitely when next drops, I'm sure he'll be streaming like no tomorrow. Just like when he started streaming No Man's Sky the first time, which was all the time. And, we might do some multiplayer stuff. I know there's a lot of L plays and LZ and DM21. All these people want to get these crews together and all this stuff. It's going to be interesting. There's so many people who want to like get a squad or a team. I mean, it's going to be so crazy, especially with videos and content-wise. The collaborations are going to be endless now. Because right now, you can't play with each other or whatever on No Man's Sky. Once you can squad up, you're going to be having videos of me and Cobra and L Plays and everybody in one video, which is going to be insane.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even think about that, but it is definitely going to start pulling us all together.
Exactly. It's going to be freaking crazy. We just have this whole series of everybody on one channel at one time, and we'll all just upload it on our separate channel. I don't know how that would work, really, but
everybody streams
everybody streams it. Yeah, I think that would be super cool. So, and that's generally how it's going to work. If we get the multiplayer that we think we're getting, that's how it'll work. We'll all be and everybody's on PlayStation 4, because I don't know how crossplay is going to be, if it's going to be. I know Xbox, I don't know like how everything's going to be shared. PC, PS4, Xbox. If it's all going to be 3 different universes, I have no idea how it works. I don't even know how it works right now. So I just know Xbox and PlayStation will never be crossplay because they won't do that. They got the enemies. Now that Sean Murray and Hello Games have dissed Sony and completely left for Microsoft at this point, which I think is a good plan because, in my opinion, Sony pushed them to release this game. We could talk about that. It's a whole nother conversation. We don't have to go through that because I've talked about that so many times. Anyways, so make sure you go check out Law's Twitter and his YouTube. Like I said, link in the description and pinned in the comments. And if you want to be on this show, I guess, I don't know what this is, just a video podcast show thing. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm going to title this. If you want to be on this, let me know on Twitter. Is probably the best place, or the comments. I'll read the comments eventually. I'll get to them. Let me know, and we'll hook up through Discord, and it's just basically like this. We'll just talk about the game, upload it, no filter, no, if you come on swearing up a storm, whatever, it's going in the video. Right? I'm not editing it. Okay. I'm not going to be like Cobra. You can come in here and, talk mad shit. All right? Whatever you need to say. Just get it off your chest. Unless you're a hater, we don't need that, okay? Because then that's just going to be a massive video. But yeah, if you want to talk about No Man's Sky with me, I might have multiple people on at once maybe before. But I want to kind of do this community. It's not really a spotlight, but just chilling and talking about the game with one person who likes the game and is excited for what's next. And that's it. No script, no anything. We didn't plan this at all. I was just like, yo, let's record a video. I was like, all right, here we are. Also, if you want to see me on Law's channel, I'll be over there because we're going to record a video for his channel as well. So, go subscribe to him and wait for that, because that'll be on his channel only. It's not going to be on my channel. It's exclusive. It's an exclusive deal, okay? Limited time only, right? Go subscribe to Law. All right, and that's it. Thank you, Law, for joining me. It was awesome. We talked for... I said this was going to be a 30-minute video. It's like an hour and a half.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
nice.
So, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what happens when there's no script or layout. But, hey, I don't have to work tomorrow. We're fine. Anyway, so yeah, thank you, Love, for joining me. This was awesome. We might do it again. I know when we get closer and we get more news or something, might have Law come on again, and we'll probably talk about the same crap again.
Yeah.
Because that's
that point,
that
point, hopefully, there's a lot more
going
on.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, this has been a crazy 2 weeks. I mean, box art, multiplayer, player model, Wikington. As far as the year of silence we've had, this is probably the most we're gonna get at once. I think it's definitely, and then E3. What day is it? Oh my gosh, E3 is what, the 13th?
Couple weeks. Yeah, it's a couple weeks.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we're gonna have to do like an E3 thing after E3. Just talk again. Like, it's gonna be insane at E3. If they get, I'm making a promise on this video. If they show off No Man's Sky and get booed, I will cry on video and upload it. Okay.
Oh.
All right, because I will be so bummed. You don't know, like how happy Sean looks during that interview, man. He looks so proud. Just to see his game get booed, oh man, I would be so depressed. I would call into work and be like, "Yo, today's just not my day." Okay. All right. Anyway,
like you said, if they're gonna do it, they need to show gameplay first.
Yeah, gameplay first.
Show some really awesome moments.
Yep.
Really cool stuff going on. You know, some characters running around and doing cool stuff, shooting. And hey, that's cool. And then No Man's Sky right at the end. Flash it really quick.
Yeah, real quick. Just like really quick. 2 seconds. Just bam, done. And then move on to the next game. Just next game instantly. Just like Halo pops up right after that. It's like they don't have enough time to realize. They're like, whoa. And then they start to boo, and then they're like, "Oh, it's Halo. Okay, we're good."
They're clapping, but they don't know. It just went right through to the next one.
Exactly, like a speed round trailer, just like a few seconds, boom, out, $50 out. You know, pre-order now, pre-order bonuses, loot boxes, flash it all really quick. Loot boxes. Oh god, I hope they don't do that. Honestly, if they put loot boxes in this game, I will be spending mad money, but I hope they don't. Okay.
They could have charged me for updates. I would spend all my money on
the amount of money I spend on Rocket League freaking cosmetics. Yeah, no, I'd gladly spend that on No Man's Sky. Okay. If I spend money on an in-game item that I could put on top of my car to make my car in-game, where you play soccer with a vehicle, cooler because I can wear a top hat on my vehicle. If I spend money on that crap, I'll spend money on No Man's Sky updates or in-game loot boxes, alright? If I have to spend money to, I don't know, like base building options or whatever, dude, I would do it. Dude, what if you can have a disco ball in your base?
Give it to me.
And freaking dance with emotes. See? We could be squad, you could have squad parties. Dude, after like a raid or a raid battle, you all just come down to this lush planet, get inside your base. It's a colony. You got this dance party going on. You got 15 other No Man's Sky players in there. 4 different squads. Everybody's just dancing.
You got the oxygen bar. Like everybody's in there.
Yeah. Oh man, dude, we already have like the neon lights in game that we can hang up in there. We got bar stools that we can like swing. We can't sit in them for some reason. I don't know what's up with that.
Just swing them around.
Swing it around. There we go. Get some like Corvaxian strippers in there. I mean, just saying. Were you part of that joke, Law, a long time ago? I don't think you were. We had a joke long time. This was early. I know this video is rambling going on. This is early my channel. Before 1,000 subscribers, I think. I used to play Rocket League, stream Rocket League, and then have like a party chat of like 6 people where we just talked about No Man's Sky. And the Corvaxian stripper idea came up where we hope Corvaxian strippers would be in the game. For some reason, that was a long-running joke on my channel. There's the Corvaxian strippers and Space Whales. I mean, Space Whales was a running joke throughout everybody's. But only a few people who watch this video will know about the Corvaxian strippers. who were a part of that party chat. I still only talked to about half of those people in there. Half of the others have disappeared. That No Man's Sky hate drove them away like no tomorrow. They come back and they're like, hey, you still enjoying No Man's Sky, you loser? And I'm like, get out of here. They don't do that. Alright, anyway, that's the end of the video. We've gone to some weird places and weird topics, but we're done now. So anyway, yeah, thanks a lot for joining, and I will see all of you guys in the next video. Let's pray and hope that there's some more Waking Titan news, because I need to see some more of those dope holograms. But until then, everyone have a good one, and peace out.